We are going to show you how to replace the on-off toggle switch on the Hillman 4000. Always make sure before you start to unplug the machine from the electrical outlet. We are currently showing the Hillman 4000 with the large gray cover removed. Next step would be to take a Phillips screwdriver to the black cover. There's an Allen head screw you want to remove completely, put aside, and on the right hand side of the machine there's a thumb nut. You want to just simply remove that with your hand and remove the cam cover, put down carefully. The next step would be to take your 9/16 opener box end wrench. If you don't have that wrench, you can use a pair of slip joint pliers, should work. You want to put it on the hex nut and remove. Now loosen the hex nut, put the hex nut aside, remove the lock washer, and press the switch through the back of the hole. The next step, you want to go over to the right hand of the base where the connections are tucked in between the cam motor and the base of the machine, and you will bring up one large yellow wire nut and one orange wire nut. Always remember before you start to trace the wires where they go. It's always helpful. But you will have a red wire lead that goes to a red marked wire here. The next thing you want to do is move the electrical tape. The electrical tape has been placed on here to keep key chips out and dust, and to keep the electrical connections tight. It's a good idea just to discard your tape, and when you get ready to put on a new electrical tape piece, and you want to remove it completely. The next step is to take your red lead where it goes to the red marker and unscrew your wire nut. Carefully remove that. Disconnect the red wire. Go to your large yellow wire nut. Hold the 4 switch wires. Disconnect, unscrew, put it down, and you want to take off the old toggle switch and discard. Next, to install the new toggle switch, what you want to do is you take the switch, go in the back of the machine hole here in the front of the base, slip it through, always with your red and black wire facing up. Then simply put your lock washer on first, the switch hex nut on next, screw on finger tight, take your 9/16 wrench or your slip joint pliers and tighten securely. You want to make sure, do not over tighten, just snug it up and you'll be fine with the 2 wires pointing up. The next step is to take your red wire first. This is very important. You want to take your red wire first and put it together with the black wire that's marked with a red sleeve, so it'd be red to red. Once you put the 2 wires together, you twist it nice and firmly like a ponytail. You twist it tight, and then you grab your orange wire nut, place it on to your 2 wires, and tighten down firmly and nice and snug where she's not loose. You don't want that loose at all. Then you're going to have 4 wires left over, and you got the 3 wires from the switches, and you got your new switch. The black wire goes to here. So if you end up with 4 wires, you got it. So that's all that's going to be left over. So putting in, sometimes when you receive the switch or the wires get a little short, you have to strip the ends. So you don't want them too short, so you might want to expose some of the wire and make sure she's twisted very securely. Take your large yellow wire nut and simply hold your wire securely and screw on and make sure she's nice and tight. You don't want that wire nut to be loose. So you want it nice and snug. Now the next step is to always use a good quality electrical tape rated for electrical connections. You want to take two pieces, put it around the wire, between the wire, like this, which keeps the bottom covered of the wire nut, and then put around the wire nut very securely. You want to make it nice and tight and a nice seal. It's best to squeeze it a little bit to make sure she's nice and solidly sealed to keep any chips out and to keep the connection tight. Again, you cut maybe a little longer piece for the larger wire nut that contains the 4 wires. But when you put that on, you do the same thing. You go underneath the wires, go around good 3/4 of the wire nut so she's secure. You don't want to tape it at the end. You want to do a 3/4 of the wire nut so that it does not get loose and protects it from chips. Your next step is to retuck your wire connections in the side between the cam motor and the base of the machine. The most important part, and for your safety, is to make sure these wires are tucked in enough where they're below the surface of the cam motor. You don't want the wire exposed here for the cam motor travel. When it goes around, you could cause problems, so make sure those are tucked in very nice. The next step is to place your black cam motor cover on the machine. Take your Phillips screw that you removed, replace. It's always the best idea to do is replace your Phillips screw first to line the hole into the base. Now, the secret is not to over tighten, because this is a plastic cover. You just want to make it secure. Do not over tighten. You don't want to bend the cover down. Cover is just to protect the chips and the switch and the motor from getting dirt and crash chips in it. The next step is to install your thumb screw on the right hand side of the base, and just finger tight. Never use a wrench. It can break, so just finger tight. You are complete on installing the switch, and you want to install your large gray cover before using the machine.